You want the content straight? Here's the story. He's hurt, sidelined, and still somehow picking winners like he's watching the entire season from a recliner. Cam Skattebo, the Giants' rookie running back who went down with a season-ending ankle injury after a breakout start, recently named the Denver Broncos his pick to win the Super Bowl, and the moment felt like a little perfect howl against the noise around New York's season. It landed in a casual car interview with streamer Neon, went viral across socials, and suddenly a player who's been doing rehab on crutches was stirring up off-season arguments about who's really the team to beat. Newsweek, that line, "The Broncos are good, they just find a way to win games," is the sort of throwaway thought that becomes a headline when your team is 2-9 and your playbook is a dumpster fire. The Giants' season has been a slow unspooling of injuries, coaching changes, and missed chances. Skattebo's own campaign ended after 8 electric games in which he rushed 101 times for 410 yards and 5 touchdowns, and added a solid receiving presence before the ankle dislocated. He was one of the few stories in New York that read like hope. Losing him is part of why the team that wanted to dream playoff football now feels like it's on the lifeline. ESPN.com. But Skattebo's pick isn't random bravado. The Broncos, riding a defense-first identity and led by a quietly efficient young QB, have been racking up wins in ways that feel overdue but undeniable. Denver's Week 11 victory over the Chiefs, a 22-19 nail-biter sealed by a late field goal, kept the Broncos near the top of the league standings and stoked the "they just find a way" narrative Skattebo mentioned. That kind of late-game composure and ugly win resume is exactly what veterans and locker room personalities notice first. When a player on the sidelines says it out loud, it's because he sees film, tone, or scheduling that tells him the team is peaking at the right time. ESPN.com. There's a small cultural subplot to all of this. Skattebo hasn't been spending his rehab in an isolation tank. He's been front and center in a weird, modern athlete life, streaming, appearing with influencers, and even getting his own viral clip from a WWE crowd moment. That visibility is double-edged. On one hand, it keeps fans engaged and gives a sideline player a platform to shape narratives about his team and the league. On the other, it amplifies every quip and prediction into fodder for pundits who adore instant controversy. When Skattebo casually says, "I hate saying it, I want to say the Giants, but the Broncos are really good," he's talking to a camera and a community that turns the remark into a debate in minutes. Reuters. Let's be honest about the optics. A healthy, in-season player saying who will win the Super Bowl is one thing. A hurt rookie doing it from the treatment room is another. There's something charming and a little defiant about it. It's the athlete's way of saying he's still in the conversation, still thinking in the big picture way pros do. It's also a small reminder that players watch the league with a sharper lens than many fans give them credit for. They notice matchup edges, coaching chops, and which teams can bear the grind of a 17-game slog. When Skattebo praises Denver's habit of grinding out wins, he's echoing a truth NFL insiders have been mentioning all month. Denver's defense and timely plays have kept them winning close games. Fox Sports. But the prediction also reads like a coping mechanism. The Giants are 2-9, their season evaporating faster than a timeout coffee, and the organization has spent weeks fielding questions about coaching stability and how to reset for next year. For Skattebo, who had been one of the team's most exciting young pieces before the ankle, picking a champion that isn't his own team allows him to be a fan, a pundit, and a presence without pretending his roster is healthy. It's honest. He wants his team to win. He'd say the Giants if reality allowed, but he's also calling balls and strikes on what he sees as a more complete franchise in Denver. There's a humility and a realism to that kind of answer that veterans respect. ESPN.com, let's zoom out and measure risk versus reward. For the Broncos, being find a way good is a sustainable season model until the law of averages bites. Winning close games repeatedly can flip a 9-2 record into a 6-5 freefall if luck turns. But right now, on tape and by results, Denver looks the part of a team that doesn't panic and can execute late. For a rookie running back watching from rehab, that's the sort of team you bet on in conversation and in brackets. For Giants fans, it stings. You want your guys to be in that bracket, but it also signals respect for what the Broncos have built. Fox Sports. The human moment here is small and quiet. Picture Skattebo, iced leg, surgical scar still tender, laughing with a streamer in a car and saying the Broncos are his pick. There's a dignity in that laugh, a humility that comes from a player who knows his season is over, but still wants to be part of the discourse. It's a way of staying engaged with the league and his peers without pretending the narrative is anything but it is. He didn't sound bitter or tortured. He sounded like someone who's both rooting for his team and keeping his head in the bigger game. That's a maturity that veteran locker rooms value. So what should you take from a viral clip of a hurt rookie predicting a champion? First, it's not a hot take to take seriously. Players see things you don't. They study matchups and talk to people in other locker rooms. Second, it's not a definitive prophecy either. Seasons bend on injuries, trades, and chemistry. And third, it's a reflection of how athletes live in the moment. They are simultaneously fans, performers, analysts, and personalities, and sometimes those roles bleed into each other on camera. When Skattebo picked the Broncos, he wasn't trying to start an argument. He was speaking as someone who watches football closely and, for the moment, admires what he sees in Denver. Newsweek. If you want a last line you'll remember, make it this. Athletes injured aren't invisible. They're still readers of the league. Cam Skattebo's shot from the hip Super Bowl pick is less about predicting the future and more about staking a claim to being part of it, even if the field for him this year is made of crutches and highlight reels. The Broncos might win, they might not. But the fact that a sidelined rookie noticed the same thing analysts did, that Denver has a way of winning tight games, is a small reminder that the best takes sometimes come from the least expected places. ESPN.com, enjoy the debate. If you want, I can turn this into a crisp 8-minute YouTube script with an emotional hook, quick jokes, and a memorable closing line, all in American English and ready to read on camera.